to the Born Unbreakable podcast with your hosts, Coach Des and DJ FNA.
That's me.
That would be him. And I just want to,
Look, that's me right there. Yeah.
Before I even
Right there, that's me.
get into what we're talking about today,
I'm getting better at this. I promise.
I just want to make the observation so you know in advance as we get into the episode
There's a lot of cussing.
that Aaron has taken some kind of extra potion today. Sometimes it's me that has taken it, and today it is him. So if there is a
Two
little
words. Sleep deprivation.
bit of extraness happening, it would be coming from this.
No, I'm good. I just came off a 3-day conference. 20 hours.
20-hour days.
Yeah, and like 2 days of preparation. So 5 days of straight 20-hour days.
So you're just like on an adrenaline rush.
I like to think of it. I'm on a roll.
Wow.
I have momentum right now.
Momentum.
Yes. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to get this thing going. I know that a couple of the podcast episodes that we're doing right now may not make sense because we're just trying to get our shit together. There's so much going on, but yeah, we're here. We're here.
Oh my gosh!
Like Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffalo say, "We here."
Oh my gosh! Let the extraness continue. So, what are we covering with you today? We have introduced you to our new format in the last couple of episodes, and we're, like Aaron said, we're leaning in. So we like to start our episodes out with a couple of headlines before we get into our main topic of discussion, which today, because I don't want to keep you waiting, just get to the punchline, is going to be on the topic of inflation. And then we'll end with a couple...
Whoops, sorry.
Really? Extraness?
A little technical difficulties there. Sorry.
What in the world is going on? Inflation. Was there like a special effect that you were going to do for that?
No, I was trying to make sure that we have our clips ready to go. I got a little excited. My fader was up.
I was like Patrick Mahomes and inflation.
Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
That there could be a correlation. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But we'll end with some takeaways and also a tip of the week, and then we'll let you be on your merry way. But without further ado, what are some of the headlines that we've got going on, Aaron?
So this one, we've talked before. The last episode we talked about football, right?
Yeah.
Now we're going to keep on football because it is football season.
It is. It's my favorite season.
But one of the things that has taken over football, and who would have thought? The Swiftie clan, you know what I mean? The Swiftie bunch.
The Swiftie bunch.
Taylor Swift is Swiffering the nation right now.
Tell us more.
Because I don't know if you guys heard, but like the last game that Kansas City, Kelsey, okay?
Explain who that is for maybe some
Travis Kelsey plays for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
He's very Mike Gronkowski-esque, you know? He's a tight end and he's awesome. I mean, if you're a football fan, you know who he is. But for those who are not a football fan, he's a really good player. He plays for the Kansas City Chiefs and he's a cool guy. His brother plays for Philadelphia. And in the last Super Bowl, him and his brother played together against each other.
Super
so
cool.
that was really cool. But now he's in the news because he's dating Taylor Swift. Now
he got on her roster.
Yeah,
That's a big deal.
So last week she showed up at a game.
Okay.
And with his mom. So once the cameras panned to the skybox where his mom was sitting, Taylor Swift was with his mom. And right away people were like, Taylor Swift is with Kelsey's mom. Right away it was like,
oh my God.
okay, it was like the secrets. And then another thing, which was funny, is now I know a couple of Taylor Swift songs.
You are a DJ. So
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's some ones you can play in the club, but I mean, apparently she has fans all over the world.
Oh,
she sells out, you know.
Top.
So whether you like her or not, she sells out. She's got her fans. She has a big following. it's a pretty Taylor Swift is a pretty big deal. So it's funny because people after the game that found out she was there were going crazy, right? There was this thing, and I don't know if it's true, but they were saying that Taylor Swift snuck out in a popcorn box, like a large vendor popcorn box. Like they were like, oh, you know, she's this house she snuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't think it is. Like,
That's funny.
you know, but you know, it's a big thing because you have sports
A pop star.
and a pop star dating, and it's huge. Okay, now we're gonna show you another. Now this is Sunday Night Football. This is like week. This is the second time Taylor Swift came to a game. Taylor Swift. This is the impact she has made the ratings for Sunday Night Football go up. Clothing brands or the clothes that they were wearing sell out. Kelsey gets like 900,000 followers. His jersey sells. It's insane. So I'm going to show you guys. It's like a really quick clip of the last game, and there's going to be parts. And Taylor Swift gets a lot of play here. So let's
Take a look.
yeah, let's take a look here. Hold on. Let me make sure I get this right. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to get fired. Okay, here we go. Let's go here and play this clip.
All right.
BC's Sunday Night Football. Oh, and yeah, she's here.
And she's here.
In the house.
Okay, so just let's just look at this clip, okay? In the beginning, you have, of course, a star player. And for those of you who don't know, Patrick Mahomes is a starting quarterback. He's amazing. He's, you know, people are talking about he's Brady-esque, you know, he's like the next GOAT. So you got
And Travis Kelce.
the quarterback,
BC's Sunday
the tight end,
Football. Oh, and yeah,
and Taylor Swift.
Taylor is in the house.
She's in the building.
It's a big thing. You know, like they announce her like she's part of the lineup. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
To your house, Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark. Hi, Swifties. We'll be with you all night.
Swifty.
No. It'll be a big part of the night as we go through. Third and short. Pacheco almost caught in the backfield. Instead, into the open field and accelerating. Pacheco in for the touchdown. The Jersey Kid back in his home state.
And they go to Taylor Swift again. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Oh, there she is.
Song titles right out of the gate. Carson Daly knocking that out for us. Taylor is here and ready to watch as the Chiefs and the Jets set to go. Reversal. There's Taylor Swift and the VIPs who are here watching. A little closer game here tonight.
A lot of
Just like
airtime.
clockwork, we have the 2-minute warning at the 11-yard line. Halfway through the third, Taylor's still here. If you come to New York, maybe we can rent you a place. So you think Travis Kelce's
There's the
living
mom.
the good life?
There's her mom.
Donna Kelce's living the best life of all. There she is with Taylor Swift again, like she was last week. Earlier today, she was 96 miles away at the Eagles game to watch Jason, and she
Hey,
was sitting
the
with
Allstate guy.
Jake from State Farm.
Oh, the State Farm
Right,
guy. Sorry.
back to Taylor Swift. The Taylor effect is real. Travis Kelce gained almost 900,000 new followers on Instagram this past week. And according to Fanatics, there's been a 400% spike in Kelce jersey sales. Before last Sunday's game, Kelce ranked 19th in sales this season. Now he's in the top 5. And then there's this. Hundreds of orders for customized Chiefs jerseys like that one.
Man, I mean, like.
So,
it's-
Aaron, tell me what happens if they break up.
I mean, you pretty much have like
As long as they're together for the season.
the ratings go down, and you can. Now, here's the thing. This I know this is going to happen. Do you remember like LeBron James when he left Cleveland?
Yeah.
When you had Terrell Owens leave Philadelphia?
Yeah.
You know, people burn jerseys. Like you're gonna, all these Taylor Swift fans, if they break up, they're all gonna burn.
It's going to be
Kelsey
a
jersey.
big
It's gonna be
deal.
crazy. So, I mean, I mean, what do you think about it? Being a girl, you do like football. What do you think about the integration of, pop stars and football? Do you think they're making a big deal about it? Why is it a big deal?
I mean, here's the thing. I think this is the power of pop culture. And I think it's the acceleration and the momentum, like you used that word earlier, of social media. We're in the age where it is that rapid trends that happen. I think embrace it. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're a Swiftie and this is your jam and everything, keep on keeping on. You know?
I'm a guy.
I'm not
and,
hating.
Yeah, I'm a guy, and I don't mind it. It's cool because here's the thing, you know, guys, if you want to, and I'm pretty sure a lot of guys, you know, when it comes football season, what do the girlfriends do? Not you, because you know you're not.
I'm an actual football fan.
You're an actual football fan, so you like it when, you know. But most girls out there are like, oh God, football season's coming up. That means this guy's gonna be, you know,
Yeah.
Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Saturday if you're a college fan,
Yeah.
you know, Monday night football, you know. But now it's getting girls to watch maybe, and getting girls to, you know, look at the game. It's becoming exciting, and I think for sports. And just this goes back to the Dion thing. It has to be entertaining. I mean, you have to sell the product. You know, it generates money for everybody involved. You know, the teams make money, the stadiums make money. As people, you know, the more fans, the more money. Now, is there greed? Yeah,
We're in America.
Yeah,
so absolutely.
But I think it is great for the sport because it's bringing more to the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's allowing people to watch, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of girls who never watched football are now looking at football like
Hashtag
or
Swiftie.
they're watching football, but they're watching it because it's a love story now.
Right.
It's, oh my gosh, let's cheer for Taylor Swift's boyfriend now, you know? And now it's interesting. Now you're kind of mixing a soap opera with football and putting it together.
Right.
There was some commercials back in the day that they would do that. They would get two worlds and put them together and see what it would be. I feel like that's a real thing. So you take, you know, the soap opera drama,
Right.
reality, and then you mix it with sports.
Well, and then
know?
we know, for those who have followed Taylor Swift, that she's notorious for making music and songs about people that she's dated and her different experience. She's a very real singer that talks about these experiences. So, you know, people will probably anticipate like songs.
One
and
of the
things
cool
like that.
things I did like about this, okay, was she did go and hang out with the mom, which I really like, because it's saying that Taylor Swift is a good girl, because she's the biggest pop star, one of the biggest pop stars. You know, you could put up there, you know, Beyonce, you know, and she still has to get in good with the mom. You know what I mean?
That's something everybody
like
can
that.
relate to, right?
Like, she didn't just go to the game and would just sit there, because if she was just there just watching it, she would think everybody would have been like, well, she's there watching the game, cool.
Right. Well, that's
But you're
what
sitting
a lot
with the
of-
mom.
that's
That
what
was
a lot of
a
girlfriends
dead
do.
giveaway that there was something going on there. But at the same time, I liked seeing that, because it made this whole moment of the mom was like, you know, here I am seeing my son, and you're gonna date my son. You got to get in good with me, and I think that was a really good thing. That right there showed that Taylor Swift is a good girl. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that about her.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So yeah, I mean,
Hey, man.
NFL and the Swifties coming together. I like this.
It's good. It's good stuff.
You know,
It's
now,
good
now
stuff.
we live in Vegas, and the Super Bowl is here this year. If the Kansas City Chiefs come, I mean,
Oh my God.
we're already talking about, I mean, if you are even thinking about coming to Vegas, just go online and look at the hotel prices. It's sold out. You can get a Motel 6
There you go.
room for like $700-800. It's insane.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, if the Kansas City Chiefs come to
People
Las
will
Vegas,
bring their tents.
Taylor Swift is going to be in the building, and it's just going to be crazy.
It's going to be pandemonium.
Crazy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. But that's how.
Man.
That's how it is. you
I
know?
like it.
That's
It's
how it
it's
is.
entertainment, you know. It's fun. I like it. I mean, for those of you out there that don't like it, or they're just like, you know, leave all that, you know, mushy stuff out of football. I get it, you know. But for those of you that feel a different way, I'd love to hear, you know,
Yeah, well,
if
and
you don't like it, you know, because
I do think that there is a different perspective on this.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who don't like the hype, who don't, you know, like to perpetuate the things that are on social media and things like
Yeah.
that, because it's too, you're a follower, you know,
Yeah.
versus somebody that is an independent thinker or things like that. And I can understand that other perspective. So, it's okay. It's okay to not like it.
I mean, anything to get a girl to sit down with you on a Sunday and watch football. Hey, that's cool. I like it. I like it. In other news, what else we have going on?
So the other news that we have is the Sphere.
Oh, yes.
So we have a popular thing here in Las Vegas called the Sphere, but it is not something that people just here in our city are paying attention to. People around the world are paying attention.
This is a big thing.
To this special.
Let me put a little picture up on the
Special-
screen for you guys. So
special
those
ball.
Those of you that don't know what this is or want to know, this whole thing, it's a huge LED screen sphere that sits behind the Venetian, and they built this past year. They finished it. It's a theater inside.
But it's so much, right? Because if anybody who's watching right now, you can see that it is essentially it's a marketing tool. It's entertainment, like while you're driving. It's something very interesting to pay attention to, even if you're just looking at it and you're not inside of it.
Yeah, and I will say that, I mean, man, this thing
It's super cool.
You've seen it, right? You've been by it.
Oh, yeah,
This thing is so cool. I mean, when you get really close, you can actually see the LEDs. It's really, far apart. I want to say maybe like a foot or two apart. Because see right here, I don't know, you can kind of see the circles.
Right.
But of course, as you get farther, you're like, man, it's like a screen.
It's crazy. It's a razzle-dazzle for sure here in Vegas.
So yeah, this whole Sphere thing is amazing. And I know it's got national news and world news because it's the first of its kind. When I moved from Texas to here, I come from a small town out in the West Texas town of El Paso. Only people in El Paso know that song.
Extra.
But it was a small town, and like many of you who come from a small town, you don't see this. We get a good restaurant in our town, and we're like, yeah, there's a Cane's.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I mean, So, I mean, I remember when we got Krispy Kreme, it was bananas, right? But this is why I like living in Las Vegas, because there's so much going on. And this is the only place where people will dump a crap load of money into something like this,
Obscene.
Because it is the entertainment capital of the world. And this is amazing. Now, the funny thing is we have this thing called Vegas Issues. It's an Instagram here in Vegas. And the memes about this thing was so funny because now think about this. Now, it's on the strip, not on the strip, but like a street behind.
Adjacent.
Okay. Around there are apartments. And at night, this thing is so bright. It's so bright. So one of the funniest memes I saw was a guy that said like, oh yeah, when they turn on the Sphere, and there's like a guy in his bedroom, and he's just like, and it's like really bright.
Right.
It's crazy. There's even a street where you're driving down, and it's dead center in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And you're like, how is this thing not going to cause accidents? It's crazy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now the inside. Okay, now that's just the outside.
Yeah, that's just the
okay, we
outside.
haven't even talked about the inside. U2 just did the first concert. First concert in there.
You can buy tickets now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of show you a little bit of this. We'll kind of go through. I'll turn the sound down. We don't really need to turn the sound. We don't want to get any copyright stuff. But this is inside the Sphere. Now it's supposed to be like a kind of like a 360 view
Experience. Right?
So immersive. The screen is all around you, and I want to say I've heard that every seat even has speakers.
So there's no bad seat in the house.
No bad seat in the house.
Right.
You guys can kind of see here. You got
It's a crazy town.
the band playing right there, and there's some other things right here. It's cool because they put the the screen. I mean the entertainers up there. There you go. See.
So you can you really have a good view.
What I like about
Right.
this, and this is cool, people who grew up with music videos, they're really going to love this. Because, like you said, there's not a bad seat in the house. But it's like you're in the music video with them.
Right.
You know,
That's why they call it immersive, right?
it's immersive. I like it.
Now,
Okay.
here's the thing.
ahead.
Okay. Awesome. Really cool. Very different. How much does it cost? So
you are gonna have to take a loan out.
So you too, and this is just an example of things to come.
Yeah.
So there's going to be many different kinds of concerts and experiences. But if you want to buy a ticket right now, it ranges from the high 600s to about $1,500. So not, your cheap $100 seats, but again, you get what you pay for,
Yeah.
right? So that's something to consider. Now, it's free if you're on the outside and you want to just take
Yeah.
a look and have that experience. You can certainly do that too. So just want to be clear.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things that I heard about this was that it's very steep, which is scary. Now, I wonder if they give any warnings, like people with any health conditions or vertigo, or I wonder if it'll make you dizzy, because
Those are
something like that
disclaimers,
is like a sensory overload.
For sure.
Like you're looking at a big screen, and if something like, let's say it's kind of like when you get into those little rides that are like, you feel like you're like in a
I
roller
love
coaster.
that. Like in Universal Studios.
Yeah, who
like,
knows
woo.
if they put a big old thing and it drops and you just go over your seat, like it's gonna make you move. I wonder what
People
the effects are.
could get
we'll see.
nauseous and other things.
Their insurance policy must be really expensive.
Yikes.
So let's go back. But yeah, the Sphere, man, that's gonna be cool.
Pretty
Now,
interesting.
you said the tickets were how much?
Between the high 600s to over $1,500.
Man.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's the Sphere, but I remember, I know my dad was saying that he was looking at, because Luis Miguel, he just had a Netflix thing, right? For those of you guys, Luis Miguel is a like mariachi Latin singer,
yeah.
Mexican singer, Mexican, right? Yeah, and he was big, and then he had just had a bad story where he just got taken advantage of, bad management and all that. Well, he's making a comeback, and everybody wants to see him because he's
Yep.
great. Now, when my dad was looking for tickets, he was like, "Oh, well, my son lives in Vegas. Let's go to Vegas and watch a show." He was saying that they were like insane. They were like $1,000 a ticket.
Wow.
Not on the floor. So
That wasn't even.
that was. Now you're thinking it's a football stadium. Usually, hey, there's more seats. I know they just had the Beyonce concert.
Oh, that was huge. Yeah.
I know tickets are kind of getting up there, but you have to kind of wonder: is it inflation? Like, is it part of the inflation, or because I think there's a different fact. There's a couple of factors when it comes to entertainment and ticket sales. One, nobody buys records, CDs, tapes anymore. No hard copy music.
Maybe collectors.
You don't even really need to buy the album digitally now. You can just go on Spotify, And streaming services has really, you don't make money, so you have to tour. So where are these artists going to make up the money? So I do understand that's why ticket prices are higher. But I mean, it's hard to say
Yeah.
with everything else. Now I know being a DJ here in Vegas, when the pandemic happened, everybody took advantage of when everything came back. It was, I had to charge more because I lost money. Like everybody was charging more because they lost money.
Oh my gosh.
And one person does it, another person does it, and then now it becomes a trend where it doesn't matter whether you need it or not. Everybody's prices went up.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what we want to talk about today.
Right.
Let's get into inflation because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions. People don't know what it is.
Yeah. Why does it happen?
Why it happens and how
all
you
of
can
that.
prepare for it.
Exactly.
So let's kind of dive in. This is the basic definition of inflation. Increases in prices based on the consumer price index. What is a price index? The price index is basically a basket of goods.
Yeah.
So pretty much like a bit of everything: food, cars, gas, everything.
Utilities, all that.
Now, they say a healthy economy will have a 2% inflation. What does that mean? Basically, every year prices should go up 2%, you know? And this is just because of rising cost of living, cost of goods, and then you have other factors like, you know, supply and demand, if there's wars, if there's, different natural disasters take a hit, so there's a lot of things, but it seems to be in the news a lot now.
Oh, yeah.
There has been a huge increase. So, I mean, what are some of the things that you've seen? Now, have you felt this?
Oh, yeah.
Or where do you see it?
For sure. I think, we have to call out one of the obvious things, which you just mentioned, which is the pandemic, right? So when something huge that is global occurs, it's going to have a substantial impact. And so when you think about things that shut down, like all the gyms, for example, where like businesses completely flatten, well, what did those places have to do? Okay, now I have to shift my business online, so people were having to be very creative. And so there was a big fluctuation in the way that people at businesses ran, to have services and goods. And so when the economy started to open up again and people could bring back those things that they had to make adjustments to, that's going to create a big ripple effect for consumers.
Now, another thing too, remember when the pandemic happened, now this plays into inflation a lot too. When the pandemic happened, what did everybody get? Stimulus checks, you had unemployment, you had bills that were passed,
PPP loans.
Yes, you had a flush of money just come right into the economy. Now, they were doing that to help people out.
That's why they call it stimulus.
But when you print a lot of money,
yeah,
and you throw a lot of money into the economy, that has to come from somewhere. It's not just free money. And I kind of, when I'm trying to break it down to people that, when we're talking about this, I always tell them, like, look, when the pandemic happened, it's like America just ran the credit card, just was running the credit
Right.
card. You know what I mean? Now we have to pay that back. We have to, that has to come from somewhere.
right.
It's
Well,
not
and
just
think-
free money.
And think about you as an individual, because that's a good correlation, right? Like we're talking about the economy on a global scale, but just think about yourself. And even if it's not you, maybe your friends, what was happening during that time? If business was not great, what did people do? You got a loan, you got an unemployment check, you got a stimulus check. You know what I mean? You use your credit card. So as a consumer, your individual behavior was matching that of the grander scale. So we're talking about that, in both forms. As individuals and as a collective, of consumers as a part of this economy.
No, I think it's really hard for people to understand because they might go, okay, well, most people are going to live paycheck to paycheck, and you have a budget, pretty much, my house payment says, my rent's this, my car payment is that, my insurance is this is how much I usually spend when I go out. And now all of a sudden you go halfway through the month and you're like, wait a minute, like I have no more money left, So then you start cutting down, and you're hearing this a lot. People are going to the grocery store going, man, like just
These prices are
just to go,
obscene.
They're seeing that. And then with everything else too. I mean, I know for me, like I do eat out a lot. And I remember the other day I was at Taco Bell and I usually order, oh my gosh, I'm going to sound like a fat ass. I order like 3 hard tacos, 3 soft tacos, and some cinnamon twists and a large mango tea. Oh my God.
You just laid that all out there.
And I kid you not, it was so funny because this is how I felt inflation. Because I remember like a couple of years back, I was like, I would order and go, damn, it's such a bargain. Like, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I remember it was like $9.
And it was what?
Or like, I would order all that and be like, damn, it's like still like $9.
Okay.
A couple of days ago, I went to Taco Bell and they were like 19. I was like almost $20.
For like Taco Bell?
Like,
What has the world come to?
and I mean, I go grocery shopping, you know, you do all this stuff and you go, you know, I don't really, you know, it's something that you know,
It's
I
subconscious
don't really,
often.
it's funny how I don't really think about it. You know what I mean? Because you're like, you're working all the time, you're doing all this stuff. But I felt it when I went to Taco Bell, man. I'm like, $19. Like, what?
Damn.
So yeah, and I get it, I understand. Now here's the thing, okay? Let's get into this because those of you who are really feeling it, you're having to make hard decisions.
Absolutely.
You know, you're people start going, okay, luxury stuff we got to get rid of. Okay, you know, if you're going out, you got to cut down, and this does affect the rest of the economy. This is why we go into a recession because, of course, when people don't have the money to spend, you know, businesses are, you know, are hurting. You know, it affects everybody. I know a lot of you are going, okay, so but how do you prepare? What do you do? You know, do you just go ask for more money from your job? That's hard, you know.
You can try.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's way, and if you are looking to level up and get a raise and you don't know how to do it, you definitely need to talk to Des because this is where she's an expert. Okay, yeah. So for those of you that just want some help on that, you can definitely reach out to Des. You've helped a lot of people with this transition to
Oh
companies.
gosh, yeah. That's
So,
one of the requests. It's funny. I missed this request the other day. I literally was looking in the International Coach Federation. You know, you're listed in there if you're a certified coach, and people can put a proposal to specific coaches that they find. And one of them was about transition. And that happens often because I specialize in transformation and transition where jobs, where people, or just in, you know, in life, it could be career related, which is the top thing, and then the secondary thing is like relationships, you know, transitioning from in or out of a relationship, but it's scary, and so I think when the unknown is something that's uncharted territory, people fear that and what it means. But I think one of the biggest things to remember in times like this is your mindset, right? Because your mindset is, you can either be a person that is fearful or you can be a person that is opportunistic. And that's, it's a big shift for some people.
now we hear in our kind of people that we talk to, our circle of people,
Sure.
the things that we go to, we hear, like, especially if you're an entrepreneur or, you know, or just a hustler in general, you know, they go, you know, when the economy's bad or whenever, this is when people make money. You know, there's a shift, you know.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But to some people, you know, to other people, most people who are just, you know, they have a career, they have a family, are like, dude, like, I don't have a bag of money to go buying up stuff or something like that. You know what I mean? But I know it does hurt, and because it's so drastic, people are really feeling it. Naturally people want to blame somebody, and unfortunately, like, there are people that take, you know, blame. You know, unfortunately, if you are the president at the time, you're gonna get a blame. You know, and there are some policies and some things that, you know, you can do, but you're gonna see the effects later. You know,
and that's always, I think, and we're not here to tell you to go become political experts or anything like that. It's more the message of, you have to understand that things like the economy occur over the course of time.
Yeah.
Right? When did the pandemic occur? When did it begin? 2020. We're sitting here 3 years later, and the impacts are long standing, and they're going to take shape across administrations.
Yeah.
Right? So you can go to Trump, you can go to Biden, and you can do all that. I don't think it's going to help you.
well, because the feds are the ones that are raising the interest rates.
Right.
Now, you see this too, because I know a lot of people that we know who are real estate agents, mortgage loans people, that they're feeling this big time because you can't lend money. A lot of people are not going to take out loans if the interest rate is really high.
Yeah.
Now, why do they do this?
Yeah. So, you know, they have to raise interest rates because you're equalizing with the economy. Now, those people who are more adept at investing, like this is a season where, in back-to-back years, I bought a home in when the economy was great 2 years ago, and then 1 year later bought another home with a terrible inflation, and interest rate. But because I've done this a number of times, that didn't bother me because I understand the cycles that we go through. And so you can't be fearful because part of it is understanding the trends, right? So about every 7 years, you're going to see these shifts up and down. And people look at anomalies and get shocked of like, oh my gosh, well, but the bull market has run for so long, or like this or that is coming. And again,
But there's no doubt because people, it is happened at such a faster rate. So we can go back to, for example, let's say, I believe the 80s, you had like really high unemployment rate. That was when it was really bad. You can go back to the Great Depression.
in the 1920s, yeah.
Where things things just accelerated really bad, and you have market crashes every 10 years, whatever, but a pandemic and shutting down the city really made things go crazy. And of course you have people that took advantage of this. For example, you'll see this at the pump. A lot of people think that this is something that a president can control,
Oil
and it's
prices,
not. You're talking about these oil companies are merely taking advantage of, well, all the prices are going up, gas dropped really low. Why? Because nobody was on the road. Now things are back.
Boom.
Now things are pumping. Now it's like, so they're going to go, hey, we're going to add some because there's a demand for it again and more,
Right.
and this inflation thing, I get it. It's scary to a lot of people. But now let's look at a couple of things that maybe people can start doing.
Yeah.
So if you are a person that you don't really invest, no, actually, let's do this. Okay. Saving. Okay. Now, if you're able to save, which you should, everybody should have a rainy day fund,
Right.
But I get it. It's really hard. You're trying to catch up. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, how do you save?
Right. Well, there's a few things. And so the first step is budget, right? So you want to,
And you preach this.
Yeah, I do. I can help you with this if you need assistance.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple links that Aaron will share because we like resources.
There's some people that hate the word budget.
I know, but we want to. The intention of this podcast is to take things that sometimes appear complicated and break them down into ways that are more simplistic, so you personally can do something about it. Now, that's why we provide links, so that way you can go on your own time and investigate further. But these are just some of the basic things. So you want a budget. Right? Don't live beyond your means. Don't keep up with the Joneses because that's just crazy. If it means you need to spend less time on social media to help that cause, then do that. But budget. It's simple. The cool thing is that there's lots of templates. There's automated things. There's free things. If you're a tech person, there's stuff that you can look up. Mint.com is a place where you can put information quickly and it will show you your trends and things like that. So you basically want to understand what is your income, what are your expenses, and then what is the difference afterwards. And so most people live up beyond their means, and that's the trouble.
Yeah.
So once you then take care of your expenses, if you're in a situation where there's a little bit left over, so if you cut back on unnecessary spending, I think Aaron was alluding to that earlier. So like the Starbucks coffees and the cigarettes, or like the things that are basically not essential, that helps. Then you go to, do you have a rainy day fund that you can contribute to emergencies, things like that? You do want to have something like that. If you can contribute a little bit, my recommendation is, if you do have something like direct deposit, take a percentage of that or a specific amount and have that flow automatically, because it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And then if you're able to, the most important thing that you want to get to do, this should be a goal of yours. If you're not doing it today, make it a goal to do soon, is to invest. Now, that's a whole topic that we could probably spend an entire episode on. So we're not going to get into all the different things. But if retirement is one avenue, the stock market is another avenue.
Now, it doesn't have to be, stocks, and because people hear the word invest and they think like, oh,
gosh,
but investing could be something as like simple as, I'm going to buy a photo booth because I have a lot of friends that throw parties. There's a lot of things that you can look at, and an entrepreneur can be something that's just, you can be an entrepreneur and do the smallest things. So I would recommend that whatever you're doing, look at your friends, look at your family, and just think, what is it something that they all need or they commonly buy or use?
Right.
So for example, like if you're, if let's say your family throws parties all the time and you say, hey, I'm going to invest in some, like a grill, some pans, some small catering, if you're good at cooking,
right,
you can start doing a little catering business. That's a start. That's a side hustle.
Right. And
that's, side hustles have been it's like everybody has a side hustle now.
It's so true. Like
you have Uber Eats now.
Yep.
You have Uber drivers. A lot of people are doing this. But yeah, I would recommend you just look at maybe your community, your I kid you not. Okay, and I like this. In my community that I live in, we have a Facebook group. And if you don't have one in your community, if you live in a community where it's a gated, or even on your street, just find a way to get information about your community, because it's good because you guys can help each other out, keep each other safe, But wherever you live, it's good to do this. In my community, we have a Facebook group. Somebody will say, hey, does anybody know anybody that cleans houses? I live in a 3-story house. Hey, does anybody know anybody that washes windows that can get up there? Hey, does anybody know the person that can fix a water heater or do handyman stuff? Mm-hmm. Cleaning garbages, cans.
All kinds of stuff comes up. Yep.
You just go out and just say, what does my community need? Mm-hmm. You go around. Do you need a lot of people need a dog sitter. There's
tons of
a dog walker. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You have families that are working now that just need. I know here in Vegas, and this is everywhere, where you have mom and dad working. If you're a couple, both of you are working. When your kids get older, I'm pretty sure you got the kids and mom and dad working. House cleaning, organizing, making people's lives easier, finding a way to make people's lives easier. You can make some money on.
You can make a lot of money.
Entrepreneurship doesn't need to be you own a couple bars and a hotel and all this. You know what I mean? It's just finding a need and just fulfilling it.
Yeah. And it really is as simple as that. Yeah. And you learn those concepts all the way back from like the lemonade stand and, teaching kids at a young age, but you want to evoke that spirit.
Yeah. We have social media now.
Yeah, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. You can create an online business in 24 hours.
I guarantee. Anybody who's listening to this, okay, please think about it for one day. What you can do just in your community. It could be something simple. Think about what you'd want to do, what you'd be willing to do. Going around and just putting a flyer and saying, professional dog walker. I will go to your house, walk your dog. I have an AM and a PM.
Yep.
Something simple like, and it can be anything. Cleaning, watching something. Hey, I am a professional organizer. Or I'm a girl and I will organize your shoe closet. Right. Something simple like that. And start an Instagram. I guarantee you will start, it's the little things like that.
I'm telling you.
That just take off, and all of a sudden you end up on some show like, oh, you were the famous shoe organizer lady.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just try that, because there are things that just, I mean, people love an expert. People love an expert. Anybody that's, I mean, I know a lot of people who would just pay somebody to just handle that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and there's also just your creative energy, right? Because there's people right now that are freaking killing it on TikTok with their 10-minute recipes or whatever it is, and like that's where people go to literally get food recipes or DIY projects. They'll go to Pinterest. So you just find that place where you can exploit your talents or your services or goods, and you'll be surprised how quickly you'll get clients.
Another cool thing is if you're a couple, you guys can work together. Like, let's say one person is, let's say one person likes to, I'm Mexican. I'm going to just say this. There's a person that will, the girlfriend will be making the burritos, and then the guy will go out there and sell the burritos. When I was in El Paso working at a strip club, we could not wait for the burrito guy to come. And then we would tell him, hey man, I would always say, bring me egg and chorizo or egg, cheese and bacon. You know what I mean? It was one of those. But these guys would come every day. And I know his wife, made and this is not a misogynistic thing, you could have the man make the burritos, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and every time that I'm out, let's say like at a parking lot and standing in line, Black Friday, just anything, I'm always like, where is the burrito lady when you need one? You know what I mean?
Something.
Yeah. So there's ways, easy ways to become an entrepreneur. Inflation is a problem. Everybody's feeling the effects. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. There is greed going on. There is a little bit of, you know what? The Fed, the interest rates, they are doing that to make sure we're not, like a third world country, that it goes, that you have.
Lets it get out of hand.
Yeah, because you don't want inflation to be like 200-300%. Like that. That's when things get really crazy. Where and thankfully we have people here that are making those tough decisions, trying to get the economy to slow down. But again, and it does to the layman person, yeah. It's hard to understand.
It is, yeah. but it does correct itself, right? Now that's the point. Is you slow things down so things like production and the supply chain can correct itself and catch up, and then you'll start to see price adjustments and things like that. This is not a rocket scientist thing. This is a history lesson thing. Yeah. Where you can look at different points in our history where this isn't new information. It's going to happen in your lifetime. And it's just, how do you manage your own behaviors during this type of period? Let
me ask you a question. And I know you're somewhat successful, so you have investments, have a couple of homes, you have a good career. For the person who may not be, let's say you're making under $100,000, around maybe $60,000, $70,000. That's not a lot these days. Okay. What is more important? Paying debt or saving money?
Paying debt.
Why?
Because you're going to be in a rat race if you don't.
Yeah.
Right? So,
but most people, because a lot of people think, well, shoot, like, I need to save money in case something happens. What do you say about that?
Okay. Well, you're saving money that you can pay the debt with. So pay that first and then save the money. Yeah. Because the thing that people don't realize is when they have debt, now there's good debt and bad debt, so like paying a mortgage, you don't need to pay that off. Your interest rate, hopefully, is it's going to be lower on an asset like that, right?
Now, side note, even if you have a high interest rate, a home loan, a mortgage loan, that is high rate right now. And maybe couple years, just like what happened a lot of people were refinancing their homes, saving a ton. I know I did. I know our mortgage was at, like 24? And then when this thing whole happened, we went down to 18. So there's, down the line, if you're mindful, like you say, there's, even if you have a high interest loan, mortgage loan.
And those things will happen. So you can refinance if that's something that makes sense to you. But the key with debt is that, like, most of it isn't good, right? So you're in the double digits paying credit card debt, loans, things of that nature. So and there's lots of information out there about different approaches of how you pay your debt. But the key is to get it paid, whether you pay all the little amounts first and then you move to the big amounts, or you go to the highest interest rate first and pay that down. There's different strategies, but you want to focus on that first. And because then when you do that, then you have the capital for you to save and invest. So you definitely want to get rid of that debt first.
I'm not a public speaker. I'm not one of these motivational speakers, so I don't have a good tagline. Because I know I love listening to these people because they always have a cool tagline. And maybe I'll get better at this. But I think it's very important to say this as a rule. As a rule, like about money, is you want to play the long game. There's so many people out there just playing the short game. It's, I just want to get enough money to buy a car. Oh, I just want to just, go see Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? There's, but a lot of people are not playing the long game, And, for example, if you say, hey, look, what's the next 5 to 10 years look like? How much money do I make? What do I need to do? Do I need a side hustle? Let me buckle down just this 1 year and try to pay all my debt off, and then I'll be good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A lot of people do not play the long game.
Right.
And I feel like it's more beneficial. I know there's probably somebody has a great saying or a way to put it. But yeah, I think most people will play the short game.
Right.
They're just trying to just make enough money to have fun, to show off. Like you said, to keep up with the Joneses, to flex on Instagram, as a youngin say.
Right.
But where does that leave you? You know what I mean? Because there's, and I've done this. I know when I was 18, man, the first time I got a credit card, I filled out maybe like 10, 20 credit applications.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, and this is the truth and the reality is that you have to fuck up.
Yeah.
Because that's how you learn, right? So there's going to be mistakes that you make because many of us has made them. So we're sitting in a place of telling you things because we have been to those places where we didn't make good decisions.
Now, if you're young, if you're in your 20s and everything, like if you can hear this or you're under 30, man, like if you can,
get ahead.
Concentrate on your credit and not have any debt and work it right, your 30s and 40s, you're going to thrive.
You're going to thrive.
Now, if you're over 40,
get your shit together,
yes.
Linda. No. Right?
Yes, because, and you know what? It's very interesting. And you know what? Yeah, things happen for a reason. We fuck up, we learn. That's the way we learn. But man, I want to say it became a game to me because seeing how, man, like, okay, because I went on, what's the app that people do? Credit Karma. Man, I love that app because it was like, being a person that, loves apps and tech.
I thought you were going to say Chat GPT. I was like,
No. Yeah. The Credit Karma. Yeah. I really like that app because I remember when it was like, when I was going to maybe apply for something, it was like, well, what's your credit score? And I didn't know. And then you go and you try to get it. You can get that, and it's pretty accurate, it'll give you a good general reading of it, but it became a game to me because I was looking at it every single day. Hey, you made on-time payments for 3 straight months.
And this is your
I remember
history.
when I first started it, okay? now it's been a couple years. Now I can look on it, and see and I know I don't know, and some of you guys might be laughing at me
Aaron's
right now.
so proud.
But I'm proud of this shit because
he's like, there was a time when the numbers were.
For me, yeah, it was bad,
It was shit.
And to sit there and go like, because it'll show you your payment history. Okay, I'm at 100%, no late payments.
You ride that wave.
No late payments. And like and now like the credit age, it's a because it goes payment history, credit card use is a high impact.
Because you want your debt to income ratio.
Yeah, derogatory marks, credit age, total accounts, and hard inquiries. Now it goes from high impact to low impact. So if you understanding this,
Your credit
okay,
is
now
very, very important.
check this out. If you're younger or 30s or 40s or even older, it's never too late, because this right here, your payment history is number one. Are you going to pay on time? Your credit card use. So if you got about $10,000
you always want to
credit,
stay under 30.
always want to stay under 30. Now, if you get into some hard times that goes up to 80, 60, 70, okay. But now you can see it. Now you can look and go, okay, dang, you know what? I'm at 86%. Let me break that
really
down.
High, yeah.
Derogatory marks. That's going to be,
if you paid late.
Yeah, or if you let something go to collections.
Yep.
You know, I have 0 derogatory marks. Now back in the day, that shit was like 15 derogatory
Damn.
marks. Now those are the derogatory marks, credit card use, payment history. That's high impact. Medium impact, credit age. How long have you had credit?
Yeah.
You know, so that seems to be in the middle. It's like, okay, well, you know, for you, you can say like, hey, yeah, you've had some good credit for like 5 years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, here's the thing, right? Because people, to your point that you just made about the credit cards, is like the first time that you could do it, you applied for like 20.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
right?
because that's hard inquiries. Now that's a low impact.
Yeah.
But it's still an impact.
But still, like if you're sitting there and you have a credit card for every single department store ever, you know, pick your one or two things. I use American Express Platinum for everything, pay it off. So, you know, you find that thing that yields you multiple benefits, because and that's what you have to look at. If it's a credit card for a credit card's sake, like that's not going to do anything for you. Mm-hmm. So you have to be careful about the number of credit cards that you have, right?
Now, I know we're going into credit as a whole another thing, but I really think, I mean, in this economy, because inflation's going up and people are having a budget, this is a really good time for people. I mean, know where you stand,
right?
Okay. Now, if you're single, you're living your best life, and all you got to do is care about you, and you don't really care. I mean, I get it, you know. People are going to do what they want. They're just going out there, whatever, YOLO, right? But you have a family, you have parents to take care of, and things are riding on you. You need to know where you stand, because there's a thing called leverage. You know, you can leverage credit. If you look at your credit, you know where you're at. If you know where you're at, then you know how to fix it, where you can attack it. You have a game plan now. Mm-hmm. Now you can see, hey, you know what? You know, if I told you, you know, you need to figure out a way to clean a house. You know what I mean? And you say, well, what needs to be clean? I don't know. Like if you tell someone like, I need my house is really bad. Well, is it dirty? Is it laundry? Is this, you know, it's like you need to be able to go into a house and look and assess what you need to do to clean up the mess in your life, in your financial life. Right. So it's like, so you want to know what do I need to do? Okay. I need to budget more. I need to, you know, pay down my credit cards. You know, maybe just attack that and say, you know, for a couple months, man, I'm at a 50. Maybe I could bring it down to a 30 if I just try it for 2 months, you know?
Set practical goals. Right?
Yeah. So it's always good to know what your financial picture is, because it's so important now to do that, because yes, inflation is high. Yes, it is affecting everybody. Mm-hmm. But I mean, what are you going to do? Just sit there and cry about it?
And like, here's, you know, and here's where, you know, we're getting into takeaways, and we'll get into what my tip of the week is, because it pertains to this topic. But and this is going to be a theme that you see from us, because it's an important part of who we are, is don't be a victim. Yeah. Right? You blaming things like the economy, the president, the mayor, like whomever you feel like you want to put the blame on, don't do that. Taylor Swifties and the Kelseys or whoever. You don't get anywhere by doing that, right? Personal responsibility and accountability is the best way for you to take control. We can only control what we wake up and do every day, not what everyone else is doing. And so as a result of that, you can change your behaviors.
Yeah.
So, Aaron is talking about taking action, taking responsibility for your budget, knowing where you stand. And I would add to that, because this transcends everyone. It doesn't matter, what economic background you came from or what stage you are at. Raise your financial literacy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what
I mean, there are people that make a lot of money and waste it at the same time too.
Yeah,
Just
and
by
so-
not knowing what's going on. Because, for example, I mean, there are people that, let's say they are fortunate enough to have a business where they just got a lot of cash flow
Right.
just coming in.
There's a
But-
show called American Greed, and there's a bunch of greedy people out there getting money and doing bad things
Well,
with
not,
it.
but not
So-
just that. No, what I'm saying is that the person that's fortunate enough to, let's just say you were a t-shirt shop, okay, and for some reason you just got a big account. Let's just say you're in a town where there's not a lot of t-shirt. You're like one of the only ones because somebody went out of business. Now all of a sudden, all the high schools, everybody's coming to you, and you're just making money.
It's like when Forrest Gump was the only shrimping boat that was left.
You got exactly. You got $20,000 coming in all the time, right?
Yeah.
But you're still renting. You're not doing the research on like where you should save your money. Let's just say, like, for example, people are just, okay, I got all this money, so I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna buy a car. I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna buy that. Instead of going like, okay, well, you know what? Stop renting. Buy your property.
Build equity.
Yeah, build
things
equity
like
into
that,
it.
right?
And then from there, this is where the cash flow quadrant comes into place.
Right.
When people start making money.
Rich dad, poor dad.
No, let's just say this. I mean, you talk about like a kid got a $5 million contract going into professional sports, football.
Happens all the time.
What do you do with the money? And so there's a lot of people like this. So we're not just talking to people who maybe are barely making money, but if you are in a situation fortunate to be making a lot of money,
And there's people that get inheritances. There's people there's a lot of
Exactly.
situations. So when I say raise your financial literacy, it means
this
build.
applies to everybody.
Yeah, this applies to everyone. This is about understand. It's a competency. Okay, and unfortunately, it's a competency that everyone doesn't have because we have vast disparities in our world today, right? You can walk down the street, see a person laying there with nothing, and then go over here and talk to a billionaire that owns like Las Vegas. So it's continue to acquire knowledge. Every month I am reading or listening to different books on money. We're going to see different speakers that are professionals in understanding how investments work and things like that, because it's a mindset that you have to treat just like going to the gym that you do for your body. It's something that you have to do for your bank account, right? Like if you want that to grow and you have to learn about compound interest.
Yeah.
You have to learn, the book that I just finished, and I'll put a couple of resources for you, because there are some easy listens that can change your life. If you spend a couple of hours learning this stuff, it will change how you do everything.
Yeah.
The Psychology of Money is one that I just finished, and there's so many simple lessons that people don't do, and a lot of it is about humility.
Yeah.
And about doing things that, the book starts out and there's basically two examples that this author talks about, Morgan Housel, and he says there's a janitor who lives a basic life, and when he died, he had $6 million. And people are like, how does a janitor have $6 million? You gave two.
Okay, but I want to push back on that, because I know there are people out there that are listening right now going, well, damn, man, that motherfucker could have been spending that money, having a good time. Like, I'm not going to sit there and save all my money so I can just give it to my
Right.
kids.
Now you can. Now here's the thing. It's you have
Yeah.
to manage the quality of your life and how you live, and it's you have to be in the present and you have to plan for the future. Your balance of that is up to you.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure his indulgences just look a little bit different than people who are super extra and have other indulgences. But the point is that you're talking about someone who lived a simplistic life, was able to give $2 million to his kids and $6 million to philanthropic charitable organizations.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there is a gazillionaire that went to Harvard and did all this stuff and had paid $90,000 a month for this lavish lifestyle. And then 2008 happened and lost everything. So it's not about the level of education that you have and the accolades you have and all the letters you have after your name. It's about a mindset and behaviors that are consistent that help you to live a life that is your version of. Another one I would recommend is How to Be Rich. Ramit Sethi has a great podcast about I Will Teach You to Be Rich, and he's got a Netflix show, and it's all about what is your version of a rich life? Because to everyone, to you, that might be gaming. You would rather, if you had a bunch of money, your version of a happy life is spending all your extra money on games.
Yeah.
That's for you, and for someone else, it might be cars. For someone else, it could be something else. So you have to figure that out for yourself, but it's all about managing that within reason, right? So that is my biggest piece of advice for you, is to start raising your literacy by finding those books, those people. Like if you're a big social media person, find those people that you follow, like Jaspreet Singh. We just met him at the Summit of Greatness.
Jaspreet is cool dude, man.
He was freaking boss.
Yeah.
And he's a super straight shooter. And, we started consuming his content, and he's a great person to follow. So there's people that you can learn from. There's free information on YouTube. There's a lot of resources out there that can help you to raise that literacy.
Yeah, shout out to Jaspreet, Minority Mindset, at Minority Mindset. He puts a lot of good stuff on there. His story is really, really cool. We were fortunate to meet him at this conference.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, have we got our takeaways?
Yeah, I kind of combined like takeaways and my lesson, because this is important.
Yeah.
We are people who want to see those around us thrive, and we don't want it to be complicated, and that's why we like to break things down and make it simple. But and I like to call it, and Tony Robbins talks about this too, is 2 millimeter shifts at a time, because it's not about these massive monumental things that you do every day. It's things that you do little by little by little by little, right? So think about this. I want you to think of, okay, when am I going to have time to read a book? When you're in a car and you're listening to it.
There's
when you're at the gym, you're listening to it.
Yeah.
So today we don't have an excuse, because we're willing to spend that $1,000.
Well, that's why we're here.
$1,500.
We're here because you read all the books and you just give us all the information.
Well, or that, or you just ask the kid in class for, his Cliff Notes, whatever you got to do, whatever shortcut you got to take. No, but that's the thing, right? We're willing to spend the money on the iPhone 15. Okay, now put it to work for you.
I just got
there you go. Thank you, Aaron, for making my point. But that's the thing, right? So we're willing to be consumers of the goods. Now use that technology to accelerate your life in a positive way.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because just simple financial literacy and knowing what's going on can take you to just a next level. Mm-hmm. You could be, just broke to, getting by.
Yep.
Getting by to living comfortable to having extra disposable income.
Right.
That to being rich, that to being wealthy. I mean, being financial literate
Yeah.
will take you to another level.
Right.
And over time, you can go up and up and up. Now, they don't teach us in school. There's an economics class, but there's no money class. There's no financial class. And you wonder why, But for those of you out there that have kids, I mean, it's never too early to teach your kids credit. I mean,
right.
I mean, I think it's interesting because being a dad,
Yeah.
I know one day I'm going to have, I feel like before I talk about the birds and the bees, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm going to be talking about, finance and money.
Oh, all the time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. My sister and brother-in-law do it all the time.
Yeah.
I
feel like that's
yeah.
just as important, and not just, Mijo, you need to save, make sure you buy a little house. No, I think, you just learn together,
Yeah.
I think, there's essential things, obviously, knowing what your credit score is.
Right.
Everybody should be able to pull it up and know. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're buying a house now or later or whatever. Just know where you stand, you know? And just learning how money works. Investing, saving,
and making
credit.
it work for you.
Yes.
And that's the biggest difference. Once you can make the shift to making money work for you.
Give an example of that.
The way that I've made money work for me is through real estate.
Yeah.
That is, for me, that has been a method that has worked because I understand the trends in the market. And once I invested and I know how to build equity, I can take that equity and continue to invest
For
it.
somebody who is 18 years old, what's a perfect example
Of
making money work for you?
Yeah, I mean, start putting money into an investment account. Like today, there's investment accounts that you can get, you know, like on your own. If you work at a company,
So buy a lot of NFTs.
I mean, if you understand that stuff, and you know, and you don't have to complicate it. This
Yeah.
isn't about like, oh, go become an expert on NFTs, and that there are people that do that, and if that is your jam and that's your bread and butter, like you can. I'm talking about the simple stuff, like, hey, if you work for a company that has a 401k plan or something, and there's some companies that at 18, it does offer that. You just don't think you need retirement right now because you're 18,
Yeah.
right? But listen, when I was 22. Which is not far off of 18. As soon as I got, you know, into a consulting career, I started investing.
Yeah. And I
in
don't know.
that.
And for me, I don't know if it's one of those things because I'm a dad now. Now I'm like, man, I cannot mess this up. Like, I always want to make sure that my daughters have things. Their school is paid for. They have opportunities. You know, I want to, of course, as a dad, you want to do a lot for them. So I'm really, I know that that's a motivation for me. But man, like, had I would have done this a long time ago, I could probably do more. You know. But I mean, and like I said, for me, things happen for a reason. But those out there, man, if you do not have kids and you're single and you can jump on this now, man.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is one of the beauties about the fact that this is free information, right? You coming here to
Yeah.
this podcast, getting this information. This is the information age that we live in. Take advantage of it and do something now. So this isn't about ruminating about all the fucked up decisions that you made and getting all depressed because you didn't do. You can start right now.
Yeah.
Right? You could just do something different now and don't beat yourself up because you didn't know it. So now you know better, do better, and just continue to learn. That's the best way that you can, you know, move forward is just be a student. Be a student of life. Be an avid learner, and you're just going to continue to get better in this.
No, also, I mean, like, they say every generation has just something. You know, you had World War II. I mean, further back, you had the Depression. You know, you had a bad economy in the 80s. You had 9/11 happen in the 2000s. You had the housing market crash in 2008, 2009. Now we have the pandemic, you know, in 2020. Hey, there's always something that's going to be happening. You know, there's always something going to be happening. So this is another reason why, you know, like inflation. Inflation is going to go up and up and up and up. You know, there are some downward trends, but then it's just a little dip and it's going to go back up. Okay, so, you know, like Des was saying, you know, you do not want to be a victim. Don't fall, you know, like, oh, I'm a victim. All that, you know, woe is me. If you're trying to live a better life, to get a handle on things, just start learning how money works. Understand that this is going to happen, and just make better choices on where to put your money. You know, like I said, and it starts with just a budget. You know, so you know, inflation is not anything that's going to go away. I know it sounds complicated, but it's basically just everything going up and up and up. And it's always going to do that, you know? Somewhere to go, candy bars cost a nickel.
I think about that all the time because when I was a kid, I got 35-cent scoop ice cream.
Yeah. I mean, now, there's still $1 menu.
I mean,
but that chicken's getting smaller. So the
Right?
burgers
It's
are getting
like,
thinner and
oh,
thinner.
I thought it was a nugget.
Yeah.
It's a crumb. Just
No,
kidding.
no, I mean, it's so, yeah. I mean, inflation's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. I mean, thankfully people are trying to, because I think one of the things, the reason why, I mean, because inflation has spiked up, it is starting to, people are starting to talk about hiring wages. So there is some wage hikes that are going up, trying to keep up. And a lot of people are moving to
Happens a lot.
different states, you know.
Exodus.
Yeah. So you know, it's here to stay. And inflation is not just one person's problem. It's not just one party's problem. You know, it's a world issue.
Yeah.
It's an American problem. You know what I mean?
It's the economy. It's not attributed to one specific.
And whether it's inflation or, I mean, you have interest rates, you have careers. I mean, everything. You just want to be prepared, and just know that you always want to just be prepared. And if you can set yourself up to just always, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there that just, they don't like change. You know, they're comfortable, and then they get into an uncomfortable situation, and then they just crumble. You know, that's unfortunate. But if you can prevent yourself from being that person, man, it's going to be a lot better. You know,
Yeah.
Because I'll say one thing: by having kids, that really lit a fire. I started paying attention to money. I started paying attention to my credit. I started paying attention to my finances. And when the pandemic happened, you know, I mean, as a DJ, I invested before that in equipment and the relationships. So I was able to capitalize on that. Mm-hmm. Now that interest rates are going up, you know, I'm able to adjust, you know, and you're just adjusting and pivoting and just going along with it. This is the game of life. You got to play it. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to play it.
Yeah.
And hopefully those of you out there that are listening to this, you know, you're not the only one. You know, if you have some questions, we're here. You know, Des has a lot of experience in this. I mean, for me, I'm just a guy. I'm just an average guy trying to make it in this world. But I can tell you this: it feels really good to play the long game.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in the long game now, and again, you know, Ava and Aria, they're 3 and 4 right now. I know in the blink of an eye, they're gonna be 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you know, right now I'm like thinking, okay, how can I start paying for their college? How can I get them properties when they're younger?
That's
you know,
right,
so
yeah.
it's a good thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, this inflation.
Right. Yeah. No, hopefully this.
Inflation.
Oh my God, I told you he was extra today.
Or it could be
Inflation.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
a
maybe,
higher voice.
yeah. Maybe
I
that's
don't
a
know.
better way to end. Maybe a little bit more optimism in there.
Yeah. So
Right?
you guys, yeah. Hopefully we gave you some good information.
Yep.
Man, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
This is good stuff.
That's right.
Mindset. So yeah.
Comment on the episode.
Comment. Tell us if you like it. Keep
Keep
the
giving us
good
your
comments
ideas.
about Des going. Keep the critical comments coming my way.
He'll be the one who manages those.
Yeah, I like him. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to the Unbreakable podcast show. I'm DJ FNA.
And I'm Coach Des.
We'll see you guys.